So, good morning, Donald Motors Electrical Services. The camera's gonna be shaky. I'm driving on back roads. 422 is a nightmare. So I wanted to talk about apprentices. I've been wanted to put this out there for the first time ever with YouTube as well as these other platforms. You can kind of mold a generation. You can kind of help the next level of electricians, and hopefully there's got to be a way that we communicate to the newer electricians not to take some of these shortcuts. Even like if we could communicate to carpenters, it's not in their best interest to do electric. I think that if they understood the liability that they're putting the homeowner in, and it's a great liability. The most insurance companies, if you're a carpenter, you are not allowed to do electric, but you go and do it. Handyman, most insurance companies, depending on your state. In the state of Pennsylvania, a handyman can't do electric. But it is township to township. It's a commonwealth. So each township's different. If the township doesn't have a lot of population, they might not have an electrician in town, and they might have to use handyman. So there are always outliners to these rules, okay? Or I don't want to say the rules. Like I don't want to say rule of thumb, because the history of the rule of thumb isn't exactly a very pretty history. But for all intents, for all purposes, let's just say the rule of thumb is what I'm talking about. All right. So apprenticeship, and this is how I was told, was, if you're not in Motech, there's other options. Okay. Motech is great to start you off early, but learn the theory, and then you go and you get taught how to apply the theory in the trade. They told me 2,000 hours of class time equates to 1 year on the job training. So depending on how you want to work it, that was the math that was given to me when I started, okay? And then you can work 2 more years underneath the guy, and by then you should be a journeyman. So a journeyman states that you can go out and underneath someone else pull a permit under their name. All right, it comes with a journeyman's card. There used to, and there still could be, a journeyman's test, and I think there is. I think ICC does have a journeyman's test. And at that time, you can then, with the journeyman card, go work underneath another master electrician. I think now it's more like becoming a sub is kind of like a journeyman now. Becoming a sub after a certain amount of years on the job training underneath other companies, you can become a subcontractor. Okay, basically what it states that you can go get your own insurance policy, you can bid work underneath another electrician, and you can work for a day rate, or depending on how you bid, you can work underneath another electrician. Or if you're a really good sub, you can then go and pull permits underneath the other electrician's master's license, okay? The journeyman name is basically the subcontractor, okay? A journeyman is supposed to have a journeyman's card. You're supposed to have so many accredited hours, and then so much on-the-job training. But each step, and these are the fundamentals of each step. The apprenticeship, okay, so like your first year as an apprenticeship, you're a newbie, you don't know anything. There's these old men walking around grunting, making fun of each other, and you're just coming on the job, and everything you thought that the job was gonna be, out the window. You don't have a clue. And that's how it was for me. And it might not be that way for everyone. Maybe some people have a clue. But when I went from schoolwork, okay, and there was a program, CHI, that was around, and I went to that. So when I was in CHI and I got out of CHI, I went and worked on a new construction job site, Mobley Electric. So they were doing new construction. I got a job there. I had to wash the trucks for the first couple weeks just to show that I was dedicated. I actually had to paint the bathroom too. And then I got put onto a job site. And I was fresh. I was like 19 or 20. So I was like really young. And these older guys kind of started showing me how things are supposed to be done. But it was nothing like what they said in the trade schools. Even back then, okay? Because the trade school, you're paying to go to them, except for Motech. You're paying to go to them. So they fill you with like all these great expectations, and they're not always true. And I don't know, this is going back 20 years, so I don't know if it's like that anymore. It might not be. But so your first year, let's go, I want to focus on first year, okay? Because the first year is a very important year. It makes up what type of contractor you're going to be. And it's very crucial to understand that, okay? If you're going to be a hack, you're going to go down that road your first year, and it's hard to get out of it, because in 1 year's time you learn a vast amount of knowledge in the electrical trade if you're paying attention. If you're just some drunk high kid looking for a job, it doesn't matter if you're 5 years in, you're still going to be dumb as rocks, okay? But if you really pay attention your first year, by the end of your first year, I'm telling you, your boots are strapped and you're going to be kicking ass. Guys that are motivated in the trade, that is. All right, so your first year, and this is what I try to press on people. You learn the structure. You learn that traffic didn't invent itself yesterday. I give people 30 days. You have 30 days to give traffic as an excuse. After that, you're a big frickin' boy and you know what traffic is. You can no longer use the excuse traffic for a reason to be late to a job site. All right? If you don't have the common sense to look up where the job site is the night before, you're not more than a first year apprentice, okay? And it doesn't matter how many years in the trade have you been. If you don't have the structure of a tradesman down after the first year, you could be in this trade for 10 years. You're still a first year guy. If you're making first year guy mistakes, then guess what? Doesn't matter how much experience you have, you're a first year guy. So I'm gonna go into that, okay? Because I wanna talk about that some more. Boots. Where do people get off wearing sneakers on a job site? What type of professional person are you wearing sneakers? Like, you don't have the decency to put on a pair of work boots and be prideful that you're a contractor? It's hard work being a contractor. It's hard being a knowledgeable contractor. Take a little pride and put some frickin' boots on. All right? Another first year, okay? Know when to wear boots. And it's 90% of the time you wear boots. It's if you're finishing a house and the hardwood floors have just been refinished, maybe a scuff-free pair of sneakers just to go around the house and device out, okay? Nothing, and for that, we wear booties, okay? They make these great things today that are called frickin' booties. 20 years ago, they didn't have half the inventions out there today. The free market has literally provided us with so many awesome little inventions. Like our dikes. I don't want to go into that. We'll go into dikes before it, because Klein go dull in 6 months, and there's a company called Nipix that they stay sharp for years. They're expensive, don't get me wrong. You're paying $40-50 for a pair of angled dikes. I use a 10-inch angled dikes, okay? They're awesome, all right? But let's get back to this first year guy, all right? Wearing a pair of boots is something you learn in the first year because you realize how important they are. Boots go up past your ankle. You're supposed to be tying your boots all the way up. That way, when you get shocked and you fall back, you have support on your ankles, so you're not going to roll your ankle back, and you can recover quicker, okay? That's number one. Number two, there's equipment around us, okay? If you have a lockbox that has caster wheels on it, a lockbox with caster wheels is gonna sit over 6 inches high. It's above your ankle. If that rolls up against you, say you're having lunch and you're done your break and you're leaning on the lockbox, well, guess what? It rolls across someone's ankle that's wearing sneakers. There goes your fucking ankle. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Have some common sense why we shouldn't be wearing sneakers. And don't wear sneakers in a residential home. It doesn't even look professional. You're walking around like with tennis shoes on. Come on. Okay. Boots are important. You're really going to show the character of who you are with boots. And your first year, it's all about learning character and the structure of the trade. Okay? And it's so important. Okay? Step number 2. The job site's not a party, okay? Don't wear your old party jeans onto a job and think it's your frickin' uniform, okay? That's just someone that's too frickin' cheap to invest in their own trade. If you're a tradesman, be a tradesman. Go get a pair of Dickies, okay? Or go get a pair of slacks. Like, Dockers are nice. Like, I wear Dockers because they're thinner. It's a nicer wear. You can't wear them on all sites. So I also have Dickies as a backup. And for my heavy duty stuff, I like Duluth. Duluth is a little expensive for a first year guy, but if he wants to spend $64 on a pair of pants, I'm not gonna stop him. They're awesome. They last 5 years plus. All right. Dickies should last you about 2 years, and then your knees are going to wear out a little bit, give and take depending on what type of trade you're getting into. If you're getting into like a heavy laborious knee bending trade, guess what? Throw that rule out the window. Okay, you don't got to don't apply everything to every job site. Have a little common sense and take what I'm giving you and apply it to your needs. Okay, that's the reason I'm making this video, is that if you're an apprentice, these are steps that'll get you, 1, more leadership responsibility. 2, it'll get you on your way to taking the next steps, because stage 2 of your apprenticeship, like your second year, you're going to learn different things. At that point, you're starting to learn more. You need to learn the basics before you become a troubleshooter. Okay, you don't walk onto a job out of school and be like, I can troubleshoot. Like, you don't know any of the little secrets to troubleshooting. There's hundreds of them. There's ways to backfeed wires, to test for lost neutrals. There's so many different ways to troubleshoot, and it only comes after, like, troubleshooting. To be a good troubleshooter, that should be like your 3rd year, by the way. 4th year, you're learning to run the show. Okay, your 5th year as a sub, at that point your mentor should be telling you to go take your master's test, or he should be giving you a crew and saying, go make me money and I'm gonna compensate you for it, because that's what happened to me. Okay, by my 5th year, I was banging $500 a day underneath another electrician because I was making him that much money, not because I deserved it. No one deserves a damn thing in this trade. You have to earn it. Okay, you have to go out there, be on time, run the show. If the boss ain't there, take the reins if you're a 3rd or 4th year, and start showing people what you're made of. Okay, if you're a troubleshooter and you're seeing knuckleheads do stupid shit, go fix it. Okay, I guarantee you, if you follow my steps, okay, as far as the trade, and there's a lot of guys that just know that this is going on and they just don't speak up, or we don't have platforms to voice our opinion. We're too busy training one guy at a time while these other knucklehead contractors are throwing 10 guys in a truck that don't know half of what they think they do. I didn't mean to rant. I want to go back to first year. First year, we just went over the boots, okay? Keep your boots tight, all the way up. Like, I'm not saying to cut circulation off, but keep them tight. Your foot will mold to the boot, and in about 2 weeks, it will become the most comfortable pair of shoes you'll ever own. Invest in boots. You're on your feet for 12 hours a day plus. All right, that was it was amazing when I learned to invest in my boot. I wear Red Wings, okay? I buy around a $275 pair of boots, okay? And I also get this stuff called Snow Seal, all right? It's like a beeswax type of substance. It's called Snow Seal. You can look it up, SNOSEAL, all right? And I rub it on you can heat it up if you want to heat it up, or you can heat your boot up if you want to heat your boot up. It's either or. And you rub it into your boot, okay? And you rub it in a couple times, and it forms a waterproofing that's amazing. My boots, I buy special insoles for my feet because I like working 16 hours a day if I need to, Okay, I know what labor laws are. I'm self-employed. If I want to work 16 hours a day and I don't have anyone underneath of me, I'm going to go and put the hours in because my feet let me. It's not just stamina. Okay, if you have a bad pair of boots on, you're not going to make it 8 hours. You're going to get leg fatigue. You'll get cramping. You'll get shin splints. You'll blow your knees out if your boots are that shitty. All right, boots are important. First year education right there. All right. So when I see mechanics walking around with sneakers, I don't know. Like, how much do you want a day wearing sneakers? I'm sorry, but you're undermining how much you're worth. So, Dickies, same thing. Don't wear jeans on job sites. I understand it's the new trend and everything, but I'm sorry. Even right now, I'm wearing Dickies. All right. No, actually, yeah, no, these are either Dockers or Dickies, one or the other. They just look nicer. Tuck your shirt in, even if you got a gut. Don't get to walk around looking like a slob, all right? Unless you want to be treated like a slob. Like, people treat you based on how you present yourself, okay? If you present yourself as a proper tradesman, you will get the respect of a proper tradesman. If you present yourself as a drug addict, you'll get the respect of a drug addict. Like, that's common sense. People see through the bullshit. You know, people like these older guys that are bullshit, they talk like they're so good, and they don't realize people aren't judging them on what they say. They're judging them on what they do. The owners know this. Foremen know this. Foremen know contractors talk shit. It's those same shit talkers that are going out and giving us a bad name and ripping homeowners off. Okay? We need to bring a little bit of light to this situation. Just a little bit of light. All right? So, we talked about Dickies. Okay? Your shirt, tuck it in. I'm a little bit longer in the trade, so I have a beard. I keep it somewhat trimmed. It's trimmed, like I don't have stragglers. When you're younger, if you can't grow a full beard, don't frickin' try. It looks stupid. Okay? And, you can do whatever you want. Okay? If you don't want to look presentable, don't look presentable. I'm just giving you steps that'll benefit your career if that's what you're looking to do. If you're not looking to benefit your career and you want to do what you want to do, by all means, don't listen to me. Okay? You don't have to listen to this. Go change the channel and go somewhere else. All right? This is for a tradesman that is going to rely on what he knows for a career. And this is how he's going to better himself. Because if you don't take the steps, you're not going to get more money. Okay? You might get a little, but if you follow the certain steps of a tradesman, you will benefit yourself so greatly. So greatly. I'm not going to give a guy more than $200 a day that doesn't tuck his shirt in and wear boots. I don't care how good he is. Don't really care. Because he's not good enough to understand the importance of boots and tucking your shirt in. That's simple. All right? I'm not a big fan of shorts, but it does get hot as frickin' heck around here, so I kind of give shorts a pass. If the job site requires pants, by all means, it's pants. That's right there. All right. So we talked about how to dress. Okay. Hair. Don't look like a juvenile delinquent, so they used to say. Don't look like a menace to society. If you're looking to benefit in this trade, we are a service industry. Look presentable to your customer, all right? It doesn't matter if the customer is a carpenter. It doesn't matter if the customer is a tradesman. The customer could be just Joe Schmo homeowner. Look presentable. If you go to a commercial site, and this is what I find fascinating, is on commercial sites, guys don't give a hoot about how they look because they feel they don't see any leadership there at times. So they just kind of come and dress like they're going to another party. And sometimes, depending on the job site, it kind of is a party. And there's just a lot of bad habits that can be learned on an ill-managed commercial site. Okay, and if you're fresh in the trade, you pick up some of these bad habits, and you come along to my company, it takes months of banging it into your head how bad of a habit you have. Like, I've literally had like 3rd year guys, 4th year guys argue with me about wearing boots. They say they're uncomfortable. Okay, that's the kind of, like, if you're 3rd or 4th year in, by all means, you shouldn't be arguing with someone that's trying to better you. Okay, if you're learning, if you want this trade and you want to make a career out of this trade, don't argue with people that are successful. Okay, you want to argue with your friends about getting wasted and going to work, by all means, but don't tell me that you have a right to blow coke up your nose on a weekend because you have the freedom to do what you want. Okay, you do, but I also have the freedom not to give you a raise. I also have the freedom not to give you any responsibility. I also have the freedom to basically exclude you from any profit sharing within my company in any way, shape, or form. Okay, you want to be a cokehead? Go ahead, be a cokehead. You ain't gonna get money from me. All right, you want to live right and show that you're a foreman, show that you can take on responsibility. I will pay absurd amounts of money to a loyal foreman. Absurd. And they know that. That's why a good foreman, believe me, the owner and him have a relationship and he's being compensated for it. And usually it's not talked about to the other employees because that's part of the conversation. You can't, like, if I have a good foreman, I'm going to tell him flat out, he's going to get bonuses weekly, cash bonuses on top of his pay. Okay? And because I don't want him going anywhere and I need him to be responsible over my employees, okay, over the other guys. The number one thing is taking that leadership role. If you want to be buddy-buddy with all the employees on the site, guess what? You're not going to be a foreman. There's got to be a level of respect on a job site that requires a leadership role. You can't be buddy-buddy with everyone because they take advantage of the situation. They come in late because you're friends. They do drugs because they're your friends. They cut a day. They leave early because they're your friends. I'm not saying that it always happens when they're friendship, but I think there's a level of respect that has to be met before a friendship even begins. And if you cross that level of respect, you're taking advantage of the friendship. Okay, and that's where problems arise. All right, so let's just pull this back, pull it all the way back to the first year, because the first year is important. First year's theory. All right, you need to understand how the theory works on a job site, not just like protons, electrons, neutrons. Okay, and to understand how electricity works, you need to fundamentally understand the physics of electricity. You can't learn the code and how to apply it if you don't know the physics. If you know the physics of electricity, you'll be vastly superior in knowledge versus other electricians that just mastered the code and they don't understand the physics of electricity. I'm not talking about all of it. I'm talking about the core fundamental physics of electrical work. Okay? Understand it. Know it. Go over it with your boss. Bring your notebook into work with you. Okay? And ask them to take 5 minutes after lunch or 5 minutes at the end of the day and highlight the book of what's important. Okay? I do that. I buy them books. Anyone that's the first year and they tell me that they are honest about wanting to be a professional tradesman, that are willing to sacrifice, that are willing to put in the time, then I will sacrifice and I will put in my time towards it. Okay? I feel like it's a tide that I need to pass on, because when my dad died when I was 20. I was 20 years old. All right, I had no one to show me a trade, no one, and I had to beg a mechanic, and he said no to me for like 6 months. And I'm not talking about my first job, and I'm not talking about my second job. I'm talking about after I had about 2 years of experience, and I needed a mentor. Okay, I learned the basics of electricity, I learned new construction, and at this point I needed a mentor. And I had to beg this guy for like 6 months, and he finally said yes. And he was everything I thought he was going to be. He was hard on me. If I disrespected him, he would throw a tool at me. He would yell at me. If I thought stupidly, he would yell at me. If I tried to sell him bullshit that I was trying to sell myself, he would call me on it. Okay? A mentor doesn't just teach you electric. They teach you to call you on your own shit. All right? And when you're young in your 20s, there's a lot of bullshit you believe. Okay, and a mentor kind of works that out with you and kind of gets you on the road to becoming a professional tradesman. That's what was given to me. It was the most valuable experience I could ever imagine. I can't imagine when I went into it, I knew I needed it, but at the end of it, I never knew. Like, I was angry with them. We taught how to work. My apprenticeship was amazing, okay? I went from making $64 a day, and when I left my apprenticeship, I was making $500 a day, okay? And it didn't take that long, okay, because I dedicated myself every freaking day. I mean, doesn't matter, like when I was younger, I'd go out and get wasted, freaking wasted. I mean, I'd shut the bar down. Go home, it would be like 2:30. I'd wake up at 6. Jump into the van, be on the site at 7:30, still drunk. But I was always on the site. And even though I was still drunk, I was able to bang work out. I mean, and I'll give you an example. 8 apartment buildings, okay? In each 8 apartment, at the top of the stairs, there was a hi-hat. All right? So there was 2 sets of stairs per building. So that's 16 hi-hats. So I would have to take my Sawzall, drop call 6-footer, run up one set, cut it out, put a new one in, run up the other set, cut it out, put one in. I got 16 of them done in one day, coming in hungover. All right. That was when my mentor's nickname is Fuzzy. That was the first time I worked for Fuzzy. And at the end of the day, even though I was throwing up at lunchtime, he saw something in me. He's like, wow. He was impressed that, 1, I came so hungover that I could barely walk, but 2, that I got the amount of work I got done in that day, regardless of how I was feeling. He still said no. He still said no for a while, but I kind of worked him, and I worked cheap. I was working for, I think at that time, $125 a day, and I would hustle. I already had boots on every day, and I would hustle every day. At that point, I was already, the structure of the tradesman was already there. I was already wearing boots correctly, tucking my shirt in. I was still partying like a rock star, but I never missed work. Like, I'd always be there, and I'd always perform. I never milked an 8. I don't understand that. Your day goes so much longer when you milk it. If you were to just dedicate yourself, your day goes by so quick, you'll be done. So I want to bring it back again to first year, okay? Because this whole video is about the first year guy. I'll make another video about year 2 and your second year of your apprenticeship, and this is how I did it. I can't teach you what other people are doing, but I can teach you what I did, okay? And I own a house today, and I have 4 children today, and I have a great wife, okay? My wife runs half my business, all right? So I can only teach you what I have accomplished, okay? Because if not, it's not really teaching. I'm just reading out of a book what someone else did, all right? This is my story. This is how my apprenticeship went, okay? And if you duplicate it, yours will go that way, okay? It's an easy formula. It's the formula that I've been training guys that, like, I've had guys come to me that knew absolutely no electrical knowledge. I'd buy them books and I'd start teaching them. And I'm not expecting guys to serve their whole apprenticeship with me, especially if they don't want to go into the line of work I'm doing. They should stay with me to learn theory, maybe the first year or maybe 2 years. And then maybe after 2 years, they go work for a commercial outfit if they want to go to a commercial. Or maybe after a year, they go somewhere else. All right? It's your apprenticeship. It's the most important part of your on-the-job training. Don't just go get a job. If you're a first-year guy, realize what you should be being taught. Don't don't get lazy with the trade in your first year because other guys are telling you that it's party time and this and that. Like, you have to knuckle down. Okay, all the other guys that are partying in 10 years, they're still going to be in the same spot. Okay, if you want to, like, I literally passed 40-year-old men on my apprenticeship, on my step words up. Okay, and I never plateaued. I always tried to keep going further and further and further. And I started out knowing nothing, and then within the third year, I was telling 40-year-olds proper code. So there's a lot of 40-year-old men in this trade that don't know proper code. It's amazing. So for someone entering this trade, we have such an uneducated workforce, and I'm not talking about commercial. Unions educate their guys. I got to give them credit for that. They send them to school and everything. Union guys are usually pretty smart. But the non-union side, we have a lot of uneducated tradesmen out there, okay? So for someone getting into the trade, you have growth potential beyond belief if you just open your eyes and look at it and know the formula to get it, okay? It's unbelievable the amount of potential that's there, all right? So first year, proper boots, proper clothes, learn the theory, learn the structure of a tradesman. You can't have bartender hours and expect to be a tradesman. Okay, tradesmen go to bed and get a good night's rest. We're in a laborious field. You want to be rested. You want to be able to be clear-headed. You want your mind, a good 8 hours or even 7 or 8 hours of sleep makes the day go by so much better. I mean, you are so much of a happier person. You're able to think clearly. You're able to study. If you don't get the rest you need, you're just a miserable SOB. Okay, and you know, I gotta move, this trash truck wants to come in. With more time in the trade, you're gonna start realizing that. Okay, you're gonna realize how important it is to get a good night's sleep. All right, so good night's sleep, but not only a good night's sleep, learn the structure of a tradesman. Tradesmen live a certain lifestyle. All right, I understand drunks are different. Drunks will drink all night long, but usually the tradesman will have a couple beers after work if he's single or whatever, or go home to your apartment, have a couple beers, but stop drinking. Stop drinking after like 7 o'clock, you know? Start getting some fluids in you. All right, that way, if you need a beer every day after work, and dude, I've had decades of my life that the moment 5 o'clock hit, man, I was hitting that bar. I'd have 3 beers, and then I'd go home. And in certain parts of my 20s, I didn't even go home. But, again, as long as you have the structure of a tradesman down, it's a lot easier to become successful in the trade. Okay, so my structure for like a first year guy, try to get in bed by midnight. I know you're in your 20s and you think you're a rock star and you can do this and you can do that, but try to at least get 7 hours of sleep. Try not to be drunk at night. Try to get home, get a good night's sleep. Show up 15 minutes early to wherever your site is. All right. If you're going to like an office and the office wants you clocking in at 7:30, be there hanging out at 7:15. Okay, if there's a tradesman that you know is knowledgeable, okay, so first year, one more thing. Don't just hang out with guys that are fun. All right, if you're looking for knowledge, you have to seek the person that's a master electrician and ask that, even if he's an asshole. And there are some, dude. There's some freaking guys that are just grouchy. Like my second year, I had this guy that was an alcoholic I worked for. Okay, his nickname is Buckets because he always looks like he's carrying a set of buckets around. But the man had some of the best fishing techniques. Like he could fish plastic. And I learned how, not just to fish, but I learned how to do things by him. That some of his stuff was unethical, so I ignored that. But I learned some really good things from him. All right, I didn't want to stray from the topic, so I wanted to like when you get there early in the morning, okay, and someone's stocking their truck or someone's over by their truck, walk over, say good morning. And if you have a question about theory, or why do we do this when? Why do we have to put bubble covers on now? Why do, like there's questions first year guys should be asking the older gentlemen, but don't go up to the buddy of the job site that's slacking off and you're friends with them because you two sneak out and have cigarettes. That's not the guy that you ask, because most likely he doesn't know. He might, but ask the guy that is knowledgeable on the site, okay? Get there early, ask some questions, okay? Your first year, you're absorbing a lot. You're absorbing how a contractor lives, and they live a certain lifestyle. Like, you have to conform to that lifestyle. If you don't want to conform, that's fine, but you're going to be fighting an uphill battle for a long time. All right. So if you do conform, it'll make your apprenticeship go by smoother. And then, piercings. Some trades, I don't know, like I had an eyebrow piercing that had to be removed. I had a tongue piercing that had to get removed. These are all younger stuff I had in my 20s, When you're young and dumb, you do stupid shit. Some of the tattoos, I don't regret my tattoos, but if you're going into the service part of this industry, don't get tattoos below your t-shirt level, at least for a while. I know I have this, I know I have that and everything, but try to keep yourself presentable. Like, I have ink on arms, back, everything, but I can put a t-shirt on, and usually I'm not required anything more than that. That's common sense. You're not, if you're in an industry where, like, if you do government work, like, I know it doesn't matter. Like, some people say, I can get hired here. It doesn't look as professional, okay? And if you're, this is about apprenticeships, going to become a professional tradesman, you want to avoid certain things. I'm not saying, if you want to do it after and you're a mechanic, then you can do it, okay? No one's going to stop you from doing it. But if you don't get work because you got ink coming up all the way into your ear, well, then you lose work, and later on in life it does affect you. I've been turned down work because of my haircut, and it wasn't anything great, but it wasn't that professional haircut, and my beard might might make people feel sketchy, and I have to accept that, or I shave my beard off and I get clean cut. I like my longer hair. I'm getting older, and if I'm gonna go bald, I want to have long hair for a little while before I go bald, but it's part of the process. I'm coming up on 20 years in the trade, and I'm enjoying myself now. I'm still trying to get knowledgeable about things, but I can look back on my apprenticeship now, and I have no regrets. I might not like certain people, but I don't have any regrets in it. I busted my ass for my apprenticeship, and it really benefited me. So that's what if I hire an apprentice, that's the only thing I can show him. And I can, like the one I have now, he's older, and he might be in his 30s, but he still does first year mistakes. Like, one of the first days on the job site, he was wearing sneakers and he thought it was okay. He wouldn't tuck his shirt in. Thought it was okay. Wouldn't wear Dickies or proper pants. Thought it was okay. It's because no one kind of sat him down and showed him the way. And a lot of these guys in the trade aren't shown the way. That's why they haven't been shown the secrets to success in the trade. They've basically been kind of fed to the wolves and said, all right, the guys that know the secret, we're going to pay you the most. Everyone else, well, guess what? You're going to be working for peanuts for a long time until you figure it out. And it is true. Like, there's some secrets in this trade that you have to be taught. And if you're not taught, the trade will take advantage of you. All right. So thanks for watching. I know I went a little long with this, but I think first year apprentices, it's important. You learn your structure. Okay, learn the tradesman life. Okay, the structure will benefit you. All right, find out who's the knowledgeable mechanics on the site so you can ask questions. All right, Wear your boots, strap them up, wear proper pants, tuck your shirt in, look presentable. All these things are just prep work for the next part of your apprenticeship training, because this is just easy stuff. This is entry level stuff into the trade that will get you to the second year of your apprenticeship. And it doesn't matter how many years you're in the trade. If you're a second year apprentice and you've been in the trade for 10 years, you're still a second year apprentice. You know, it's just how the trade is. So, thanks for watching. Have a good, I think today's Thursday. Have a good Thursday. Bye-bye.